Hi everyone, I'm JD. Welcome back to my channel. So finally getting around to doing a tutorial and process video showing how I make these collage pages or collage covers. I'm just giving you a quick look at what I've made so far, or some of the ones that I've made. And yeah, basically for these ones that I'll be showing in this video, I used vintage music paper as my base. So I back it onto manila folder. And I don't measure anything, but basically it magically happened that when I just eyeballed it and measured it, it fit onto journal covers the perfect size. So these are templates that I've got here, and they are a freebie, so anyone can access them. They're available on my Patreon, and there's 10 of them, so if you want to have a play around and make your own collage pages, I've provided the base as a freebie for you to work with, and that will show you the size as well if you're wondering about the size. So if you just drag the image into a Word document, it will be the original size that I cut it out to. And then these are some materials that I use, so scrap bits of fabric and scrap pieces of wallpaper, scrap pieces of vintage authentic ephemera. That's what I'm using for this video, but you can also use anything else that you like, embossed papers, book pages, whatever papers you like, scrapbook paper even. That's my cat coming to say hello. And you don't even need to use a music paper base for your base. You could use fabric as your base or something else. You could use a book page as your base. You could use vintage pattern paper, or it doesn't even have to be vintage, anything you like. You could do a modern twist on this, but I'm just picking out some of my favorite pieces, and I definitely go for vintage whenever I can. So vintage ephemera, vintage wallpaper, vintage lace fabric and trim. But if not, just mix and match. That's what I kind of do. I also have a bit of lace there as well. And I'm starting off with this piece of paper here, or this music paper base. And I'm going to be making a set of blue pages or covers, and I do usually do them together, so a front and a back cover. But yeah, if you're going to use it as a page or anything, you can just mix and match and do whatever you want. But that's why there's a set of 10 music paper bases, so that you've got, if you wanted to make 5 covers for front and back of a journal. So I'm just kind of separating all my wallpapers out, color coding them. I've got purple, I've got green, I've got dark blue, I've got light blue, and I've got some leaves and some silver pieces and things like that. So it just helps me to sort out my pieces. And the ones I'm making right now are from Collage Pack 4 in my Etsy. So it's like going back in time. So you get to see my process of how I put together some of those collage sheets. So I really like this flower piece, so I cut that down, and then it's just a matter of just playing around, layering, collaging, and just seeing what you like, seeing how it works to your eye, and then placing it down. I use just normal Bostik glue stick, but you can use anything sturdier. I think I use glue stick, maybe I use craft glue actually. I use a Bostik glue stick to glue the paper onto the page, and of course you can sew around that if you want. You can sew around each individual piece, or just around the outside, or just go ahead and use a glue that you're happy with. And you can see that I just snip off little pieces here and there. So I'm going to snip off that stain, and then I'm going to use these little flowers. And that's why I encourage as well, always keep your scraps, because the smallest little piece can just be the perfect thing that you need on your collage, just to highlight an area or fill in a gap or something. So keep those little tiny scrap pieces, they're helpful. So now I'm just going through my little stash of vintage French ephemera, and again, just little tiny scrappy pieces and offcuts, and just going through them and pulling out pieces that I think will work well with this cover piece. So I'm working with blue theme, so I choose the blue papers and also the ones that have blue writing on them. So that's how I kind of work that out, to kind of work with a theme, a colour theme. I really like this piece, this base, because it says dance in that top left hand corner. So I wanted to leave that free so we could see that. Oh, and now I'm just getting the other sheet, another music paper base. Because I do work with a front and a back cover, I'm just trying to pair them together and work them out to make sure they're balanced and work well as a pair. So yeah, the process can take a bit of time, just playing around, finding the right pieces and working out where you want them to go. So what I try and do is just have a nice balance between, in this case, wallpaper, French ephemera and fabric. And then I also have this beautiful lace that just kind of softens everything and adds an extra layer and a bit of texture as well. So it just helps to bring everything together as well. Just have that lightly in the background and you can still see through it, which I love. But it just softens everything and brings everything together. So now I'm getting some fabric and incorporating that into the design as well. And I love this gorgeous blue floral fabric. I found it in an op shop and it just works perfectly as like a little feature piece. Just trying to work out where it should go though. So I do try to have a feature piece on the page. Especially for my front cover, I like to use perhaps something more like a word to be my feature piece. So that can be like a title. But I try to, yeah, either the French ephemera or a bit of fabric or wallpaper, make it stand out and be like the focal point. But then I do try to just balance everything out with the layers. And then yeah, I've got this other piece of fabric here. It's really, really sweet. And that kind of brings in a different colour tone with that light aqua type of piece. But as you can see, yeah, it can take a while just figuring out where you want to lay things, where things look best. And I try not to overthink it. Sometimes it doesn't work and I just play around a bit too much and eventually I just go, you know what? Wherever you put it, it's going to be fine. It doesn't matter too much. But mainly all I'm thinking is balance. Is it balanced overall? And yeah, so it looks like I do use craft glue. Once I'm happy, I glue things down in place. So I love that piece there. It says Paris, and I want to make sure that word Paris can be seen as much as it can. So when I do my layering, I'm conscious of, you know, what words I'm covering, what words I'm leaving to be seen, all that kind of thing. So just gluing this little gorgeous floral piece down, and look at that tiny little strip. So pretty, but it just balances out that top wallpaper piece there that I just picked up. So that the eye isn't drawn too heavily to the very top, but you can kind of let the eye move around the whole piece or page, move around the whole page. So this is the tedious part of collaging, where you have to keep pulling things up and putting them down, because when you glue things you always have to kind of destroy what you've created before you can stick them back down again. And it might end up slightly different to what you originally planned, because the second time around you're like, oh, I like it like this or like that. So I just trimmed that down a bit more. And thank you so much, by the way, to everyone who has purchased collage pack number 4 or any of the other collage packs from my Etsy. When I put up that pack yesterday, quite a lot of you have been buying that, so thank you so much. That's been super encouraging. Quite a few of the ladies were telling me or asking me, can you put that kit up, or when are you putting it up? And I'm like, okay, I'll get a move on, I'll put it up for you guys. It just takes a bit of effort, you know, with the scanning, the formatting, the editing, and then putting it up in your Etsy and everything. And I was telling everyone in the lives how that's one of my least favourite parts of, you know, working on willow bound journals, but it's got to be done. But thank you to you ladies who kept telling me, you know, put it up, when are you putting it up? It really does motivate me to get things done. And it was just super encouraging seeing lots of you buy that kit and buying the other kit. So I really appreciate that, guys. It just makes all that effort, you know, going to all that effort worth it. And yeah, I hope you love it, and I hope you have fun working with it, making covers or pages, backgrounds, pockets, tags, journal cards, the lot. I just love how versatile they are to make different things with. And yeah, like I said, as a thank you as well, I did put those music paper bases in my Etsy, and I hope that helps you. Maybe you're intimidated by collaging, but that will be something that maybe can get you started, because you can print it out over and over again. So if you mess it up the first time, don't worry, you can print it out again. Just have fun, see what you can do, what you can come up with. I was so scared to do collaging, but I found my way into it through these collage covers. And if it helps you out there, then go for it. Just print them out as many times as you need to break you in. And of course you can use them however you want. You can use them as backgrounds to do some mixed media pieces. You can use them as pages, use them as covers, print them small or big, turn them into tags or journal cards, you name it. Decorate them however you want. They're there for you as a freebie. And since it's vintage music paper, go ahead, you can use them in any projects that you want to sell as well. Just don't share the files themselves or share the printed files themselves on their own. You can share them and sell them if you change them, if you've adapted them into an artwork or a journal. So have fun with that. I just got a bit glue happy here apparently. So wiping off that glue, and then I'm just trimming off the excess lace here. And if you do have a go, feel free to share your photos of what you make in the Willow Bound Journals Facebook group page, or tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see what you make. Just tag Willow Bound Journals, or what is it? Is that what they call it on Instagram? A tag? I'm not sure. So I think I finished that collage sheet, and now I'm moving on to the next one. And it's good just to have that other one there so I can see that they're balanced together. And I think I do want to make the one that has dance in that corner there my front cover, just because I love that word. And so I'm putting them together just to see how it all works, how it layers up and balances together. And I'm not sure, but I know that my camera, this video got quite long, so I stopped filming after a little bit and then I kept filming, but I'm going to leave the second video up for patrons only, just in case they've probably all left me for filming this long, so it's just for patrons. Alright, bye guys!